Kiss My Chaos. Taking stories of trauma into triumph while living life in the middle and everything in between. All views are expressed solely of the host, guests, and for entertainment purposes only. You don't like it? Well, you can kiss our chaos. Here are your hosts, Abigail Dark and D.T. Hudson.
This episode is brought to you by Anthony Daly Construction. Hey folks, we've all been there. You have a dream for your house. Maybe it's a remodel you save up for years. You go and try and find a contractor, and when they're busy, they're busy. When they're not, they're not. Well, I tell you what, Anthony Daly Construction, we contacted him. He said he would be there at 8 o'clock. He was there at 8 o'clock. Anthony Daly puts a unique touch on everything they do. It's attention to detail, and he listens. He really listens to what your vision is. If you're looking for a remodel, building of any sort, give Anthony Daly Construction a call at 218-850-8878. That's Anthony Daly Construction. Hey, we're back after taking a week off. Not intentionally, but kind of intentionally. It was just too nice out.
Yeah.
Abby.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Dan. We're here today with Kjiesta Moch, and she is the co-host of the radio show with Travis on 95.9. And she has a very interesting story. I did not know any of these things about her. I go to a networking group, and she was brave enough to kind of give us the Cliff's Notes of her story. But just to give a little background, former Mrs. North Dakota, such a cool accomplishment, obviously. Like, not all of us can say we're beauty queens.
I definitely cannot.
Dan, yeah, well, you don't wake up every day, Dan, and be like, hi, I want to be a beauty queen today.
I do. I don't know. I think there's a lot more to it. We can ask later, but I think there's a lot to that. I give a lot of credit to that. I don't have what it takes. Put it that way.
I don't either.
Especially the talent portion. Yeah.
I didn't have a talent. I didn't have to wear a swimsuit or do a talent. So
what?
Oh,
That's nice.
We'll definitely get into this because you could both just do pageants.
There's probably a misconception of it. I think it's a whole picture.
I want to see Dan do a pageant.
I don't want to see Dan do a pageant ever because it will follow me.
Well, my husband actually had to walk across the stage with me because it was a missus, so my husband had to be in the pageant. He was like, what? He didn't know that until we were already in Tennessee together, so it was wonderful.
So you trapped him.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
He didn't know.
He's in Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was a beautiful pageant.
Oh, I believe that.
That's pretty awesome. I love that. Especially good job, Kjiesta's husband, for maybe going out of your comfort zone and walking across the stage.
Shout out to Jason.
Way to go, Jason.
For sure.
We're proud of you.
Yes.
This is amazing.
Very much.
So obviously life didn't start in beauty queen days. So let's maybe kind of back up a little bit and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you guys both for having me here. And just the beginning is obviously I was born into a military family, and that means that I was never really home where a house was. I was home where my family was. And so I grew up in Minot, North Dakota mostly, but I also lived in Germany and Italy when I was younger. Sounds super great. It's alluring to most, but what I learned most from those experiences were how to easily blend in and mostly let's become invisible and fit into any group that I needed to fit into to get through that day. That's actually a skill, and it's a skill that a lot of us young women mastered way back in the day because that's how you got through the days. I was so fortunate enough to meet my now husband. We celebrate 10 years of marriage in October. I met him in college when we both worked at Texas Roadhouse, and that was kind of the first glimmer of, hey, you're more than just something that you're trying to, like, you're not wallpaper. You can actually come out and do something. Graduated college, went to be an elementary school teacher for 5 years. That is something that was a really good learning lesson. I just love taking care of kids and being around kids, just not in a setting that's not focused on the child, it's focused on achievement. And that's kind of where I had to let go of the classroom. Worked at the teachers union level for the state of North Dakota for 2.5 years. So I advocated for teachers at that level because I knew that I wasn't fit for kids, but I was fit to advocate for teachers. COVID threw that just into a crazy tailspin, as it did everybody in the whole entire world. I left that job to become a marketing director at a chiropractic office here in town. And now I'm a general manager of a cycling studio, own my own business. And we recently moved to north of Fargo, onto a 9-acre farm.
That's awesome.
So just like so random and all the things. But I just kind of go where Jesus tells me to go, and we just call that a day.
We love random.
Take the wheel.
We love random.
Yeah.
I'm random. Look at how I dress. I'm random.
That's a sweet shirt, though.
So what brought you to want to have a platform in like doing a beauty pageant? How did you get there?
That was something that I actually said no to my good friend Misty. She was Mrs. North Dakota International 2022. And in 2020, I really struggled my whole life with anxiety and depression. I did not know it. And then in 2020, I attempted suicide. And that was something that it took me over 1.5 years to even be able to like speak outside of my home. My husband and I, we took a lot of time together with trained professionals to figure out what we needed to do next to make sure I'm safe, he's safe, and our kids have a mom at the end of the day. Through that, the next natural step is to go on the news and tell your story, right? That's what I did. Went on the news and told my story to the local Fargo-Moorhead area that could see that. That was kind of the jump off point of, I'm not a person that someone looks at and says, that person's depressed. That person probably tried to end her life. But there's not a look to it. And I just am so fortunate and honored to have that voice that I'm going to go out and talk about it and let go of the shame and the guilt and all the things. Like, I have an 8 and a 9-year-old child. I don't want them thinking that I didn't want to be here for them. And that's something that we'll get through that and talk about it at the ages that are appropriate for them. But those are battles that I still fight every day, is the guilt and the shame. But I have people in my life like you who give me more opportunity to share it out more, and more people that can hear these words and give that just extra grace to themselves, the better.
And I think people listening to that, they see people on professional platforms, especially like, it's just a small blip of your life. Like, you don't live the beauty queen life, like you don't give that off as being, this is all I do. Like, you're extremely, your platform is amazing on how you approach it and how you're just so outspoken about it. And
Thank you.
When I was growing up, I had a friend who was the happiest person ever. Like, always the jokester, always the good person, like funny to be around. And when he committed suicide, we were like, what?
Yeah.
Like, nobody ever would have ever alluded that he was that person, that would have happened. So do you think there were things in your life that had like led up to this, or do you think that like 2020 was kind of just the catalyst, or how did that come about?
There's a lot of things that led up to it. My dad was deployed a lot when I was younger. I mean, he was in Iraq my whole 7th grade year. I was the only daughter, and I miss my dad a lot. And there's a thank God for therapists, and I highly recommend counseling for any person who will go to it, because that helped me allow myself to look inside and think, it's okay that you're mad about that. Like, you're mad that your dad missed out on a lot of your life. I'm angry about it, but it isn't the anger is covering up the fear of abandonment that it carried. That my dad was just constantly leaving and not coming back. And that's what I just kept thinking in my life. Are they going to come back? Are they going to come back? And just to retrain yourself to think those things. And then you're like, Will, is it because of me? And that's where those cycles of thoughts just keep coming back. And there's not one thing that happens to any person that leads up to that, or maybe there is. Every story is so different, but I'm an extrovert and I love people. And if I can be around people, I will be. And so COVID, that pandemic, the 7 weeks of shutdown, that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. It's such a weird, I don't think I've ever spoken about this. I'm going to say it anyway. So when the actual day came that I attempted on my life, all that had happened, you guys, was my kids were being really loud upstairs. My husband was yelling at those kids. You guys, we're also human. We're parents. We yell at our kids.
Yeah, everyone does.
Yeah, so he was yelling at the kids. There was a TV show on, and then the Google was playing a song. It was like overstimulation. The only thing that I could think to stop that was my choice. And that's insane to me, to look back and think about what I could have been giving up for just wanting some silence. Mm-hmm. But the silence was covering up so many other deeper things that I'm still uncovering.
Would you? There we go.
There we go.
I'm back. And we're back.
I love it.
Would you agree that day, it wasn't just because of that day, clearly?
100%.
It's like a slow cooker, like a crock pot.
100%.
And you just keep adding spices to it. Mm-hmm. And until one point, it's going to overflow. Yeah. And the overstimulation, you hear that a lot. And I'm the same way with the overstimulation. Mine was anger. I told a story before. I was mad at my wife for a week because she didn't like my Monster Energy drink. How stupid is that? Had nothing to do with a Monster Energy
Absolutely.
Drink. So that was my question. All of that buildup, it was just that day, and in that moment, enough.
Yeah.
So I need my silence.
100%. And it was not in, again, therapy was like, it was the silence of my inner thoughts of I'm not a good enough mom to be keeping those kids behaved. So then I'm not a good enough wife that I'm not helping my husband stay calm so he's not yelling at the kids. It's all that doubt and stuff that was actually playing in my mind, not the noise. It's that inner chatter. And so that's where you really focus. And now I'm actually a certified mindfulness facilitator because of that reason, because your mind has so much control over your life and your body. If you can take that back and say, I am a good mom, I am a good wife, and we're having a bad day. That's it.
Do you think that I call it the chameleon syndrome, where you're able to kind of blend in with your surroundings? I feel like people that have this skill and are really good at it, they have learned how to survive. Mm-hmm. And so they blend into everything, and they always want to fix everything. And so if you're a fixer and you're a doer and you can't fix that, then you have that fear of that failure that just comes along with it.
Wow, are you like reading my soul right now? Yeah. Yes. I grew up
because I know I've been there. I am that person, so I understand that. Yeah.
Yes. So all the words that were in my mind, you just said. Growing up, a perfectionist, not because I wanted to be perfect, but because I wanted to be loved, and I thought I could only be loved if I was perfect, and that to me, like I legit need to make my kids do more chores at home. I need to hold a higher expectation of them. But I also want them to have the childhood that I felt like I didn't get.
Right.
And so there's that crazy balance that we're still working through. And again, we're all human to get through. But mindfulness and making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Thank the Lord we are here in this day that we're talking about it more. Mm-hmm. Like 10 years ago, you would not hear me on a podcast telling the story. It wouldn't have been appropriate for people to hear. And so we're moving along in that way. And I'm so grateful. That is where that pageantry brought it to was I was invited to schools around the whole state. I was invited to events. I was invited to fundraisers, to parades, to all these things where I got to age appropriately talk to kids about mental health. And I actually read the book from Joanna Gaines, The World Needs Who You Were Made to Be, as my platform. Because if you're a lover of art, you go be an artist. Don't listen to your parents who want you to be a doctor. Go be an artist. The world needs you for your skills that you have, not the ones that you think you need or want to be successful. So,
and the cool thing about that is that you said you went for mindset training. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like?
It looks like a ton of hours. So Mel Dahl here, she owns Mindful Healing and Consulting. So she was my counselor for a long time. Now that I'm trained and working alongside her, she cannot be my counselor. And so I found a new one, and now we went through 2 different courses with her on mindfulness. Then you went through it as a co-facilitator, and you're just learning. It's 6 weeks of skills. So you're really figuring out cognitive behavior therapy and the triangle, right? Your actions and your behaviors and your thoughts, they all play into each other. The Monster Energy drink is a great example. If you see a Monster Energy drink, your wife's first thought wasn't, I need that to go away. It was something different. And she just blamed it on the Monster Energy drink. her thoughts and her feelings were connected to something that wasn't even making sense. For her to maybe take a step back, have that conversation and figure out, I had this thought, it gave me this feeling, but I needed to change my behavior. Those little skills, if we can teach those to young people, which is my ultimate goal of life, we're going to have less gun violence. We're going to have less drug use. We're going to have less DUIs. We're going to have less so many things because people aren't using those things to cover up the anger that's covering up the sadness that they're actually feeling.
Less suicide attempts, too.
100%. And less medications for mental illness because they're actually taking care of themselves. I'm pro medication. I'm pro whatever you need, so don't take that the wrong way. But we were created to be who we are. We just need to let go of the world's expectations of us.
I agree 100%. This bubble that society can put people in is damning. I mean, you conform to this, you conform to that. And I'm not saying a lawless society. I'm just saying you have to do what your spirit in you intends you to do. And
100%.
it took me 25 years to be allowed to allow myself to do that.
Yeah.
My wife calls it living in the middle.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
Living your life back in the middle where you get your identity back and you forget who you are and then you relearn who you are and you go back to your passions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll paint a picture. I'll write a book. I'll play my guitar. I'll do whatever now. And
Back to the artist.
I went a little crazy with it, as I've said before. I mean, I've got a whole room full of this stuff now, but 100% supportive, and I was very fortunate for that because I don't know if everybody has that support. But, she gets her lashes done and her number 11, so she can do it. I mean, it balances
I love
out.
that you know what 11s are. That's like my favorite thing for your
do.
wife.
Me working in a jewelry store, every time I buy a new sparkly pretty thing, my husband gets a new guitar, so it costs me double.
Oh, man.
So I have to be really careful.
And I see how much jewelry you have, so your husband
Yeah.
must have a lot of guitars.
We won't talk about that.
Oh, that's awesome.
He
has
needs
a
his
few.
guitars.
Oh, that's
Come
so
on.
good.
But back to the mindset training. So if we could kind of like dumb it up in a nutshell, you're allowed to have feelings, but your feelings don't need to determine your behavior.
Yeah. And actually, this is from a Mel Robbins podcast I listened to last week, and she said it in even clearer words, is all feelings are valid. All behaviors are not. And I've said that now to my kids. I said it to myself yesterday. Like, I can be mad, but I can't stomp through the house. I mean, I can, but then I'm teaching my kids that they can too.
Right.
And we can't do that. So yeah, feel the feelings, but don't behave in the way that your feelings are making you feel. Feel the way that is age appropriate and in the setting that you are, and get through it.
I should have used that in Minneapolis last weekend because we were talking to my son. I was talking to him yesterday, and I'm like, hey, we need to go. My husband and I are planning an event to travel to Wisconsin on our anniversary.
Okay.
And we were going to take our son with us, and we are going to go to this, horror con convention. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't want to go.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, why don't you want to go? And he like wouldn't tell me. And then eventually I sucked it out of him.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mom, you and Dad get so mad at the GPS. I was like,
A little road rage action going on.
well, yeah. I mean, we're driving in the middle of traffic in Minneapolis and the cities. And we had a moment, where one of us is yelling at the GPS and then everyone's like overstimulated crazy in the car. Like to me, that's just like a normal family trip. Like
I was going to say, no, we were in the same exact thing literally in St. Paul on Friday night, like going to traffic. My husband is not like a traffic driver. I am because I weave in and out of traffic all the time. Not a good thing, I know, but it's just I'm used to driving like that, and he isn't. He like lets people in, and he doesn't like go fast. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna be late for this baseball game if you don't let go. And then he was like, you need to be quiet. And then I didn't tell him the next direction. I let the GPS do that, and then he missed it, and then it was my fault. And I was just like, okay.
See, it's normal
I don't
family
know.
dynamic.
Exactly. So don't feel like it was out of character because we're all doing it. And I was just like, I don't know what you want. You said be quiet. Then you said talk. I don't know what to do.
You guys drive cars? Because I'm always driving.
Oh yeah, we're control freaks. We're perfectionists, Dan.
Fair enough.
Well, I guess
we
I
have
didn't
to-
get to drive, which turned me into like you should probably do that. Oh, you missed a turn.
So we're similar. I have to be behind the wheel. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what was I just bought a brand new car, and we're first road trip ever. I let my husband drive.
What'd you do that for?
I don't know. Okay, I do know. I scheduled a lot of things that I needed to get done in that 3.5 hours
sure.
because it was through a Friday, and I own a social media management business. And I was like, I can literally get every client's social media scheduled through the middle of September on August 1st. So I plopped in my AirPods and I just worked. So it was great.
Well, that works.
Delegation. I delegated the driving to him and the childcare pretty much, and I just focused on work. It was great.
So going back to your, just a little bit back to being the military family, you were, I'm assuming you're at Ramstein and Aviano.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Okay.
I'm an Air Force guy. So
That's awesome.
I haven't been to Aviano, but I've been to Ramstein briefly on my way over to the desert myself.
Thank you for your service.
No, thank your family for their service, because the whole family serves.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. The whole small circle, friends or whatever, thank you all, because you all do technically serve. You have to support people when they're not here and they're doing their stuff. So thank you all. I appreciate that. Did growing up and having the feelings that you did and the emotions that you did, did you see, there's a level of stoicism with military families.
Yep.
In your experience, was there more of a stigma around the mental health issue?
Well, I actually didn't realize that it was what it was. Okay. It was, for me, it was a lot of stomach aches, nail biting, calling, like, I was sick an odd number of days from school. And looking back, it's like, okay, the days my daughter wants to stay home from school are the days she's anxious to go to school because something happened the day before. Like, I was never actually sick. I just didn't want to go to school. So looking back, I can see a lot of the things that would have maybe today, if I see, like I just said, if I see my daughter biting her nails more often than maybe she does, I'm like, are you worried about something? Is there this or that? That wasn't a thing back then because of the stigma. I don't know if it was military or not, because I mean, I have cousins my same age and they were not in the military dealing with the same things that I did.
Sure.
I do think that I guess the stoicism. I just talked about this with someone else. Like, if I wasn't wearing a bike helmet on the Air Force Base and I was riding my bike and I got caught, my dad would get in trouble. I don't get in trouble. Nothing happens to me. My dad gets in trouble. And then you carry the shame across the entire family because you didn't wear a bike helmet. Right. So there is that. If you have something going on and you bring shame to our family, it needs to be swept under the rug and you better not do it again. And I know I'm not alone in that. It's like you alluded to at the beginning. It's a military kind of way. And to this day, and to throw a totally random loop into this story, 2.5 years ago, I found out that the dad that raised me was not my biological dad.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
When did you find this out?
2.5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
When I was 32 years old. Oh, my. And so mom, and his name is Lon, my biological dad, I was conceived. They broke up. Whatever. I was born. All the things with timing and technology weren't back in the day, so I was who my parents raised me to be. I was their child. And when I was about 2 is when I started getting visited by him, apparently. I have pictures and all of these things. And he knew about me right after I was born. Because the timing, then some best friend of my mom was like, Karen, what do you think here? And so both dads were a part of my life for a few years. It's so weird for me to say this out loud. I'm still wrapping my head around it. And then I was 8 when I moved to Italy. Well, back in the days of collect calling and phone cards, it was pretty easy to not find somebody after they left where they were. So they lost touch with us and me. And Lon and Julie, they had found me when I was on a YouTube stream doing a mission trip in the Dominican Republic when I was in college.
Oh.
So they found me because there's not many Kjiestas out there.
Right.
Through the internet. And then 2.5 years ago, and through my Instagram, decided to just tell me, hey, there's something you probably should know, that your dad who raised you is not your biological dad. And I was like, I don't fall for scams on Instagram, but thank you. And then they sent pictures of me as a baby with my mom and this other person. And I was like, okay, this might be something. Called my parents. My dad told me the whole thing. I don't remember much of that conversation. I hit my floor I hit my knees to my floor so hard. I had bruises because I was like, wait, no, this cannot be happening. And that feeling of, wait, no, this can't be happening lasted like 6 months. I had to go to like my job and say, I can't focus on anything. My task, like I can't focus. So I can't really do work. I'm sorry. But this is what happened. And they're like, wait, what? Go home. I was like, no, I can't go home because I don't want to think about it. So it was just a lot of really like wonderful people in my life at that time. And I'm a firm believer in going through everything at the time it's needed to be put into my life. But I actually was applying to be Mrs. North Dakota the week I found that out. And then I was like, let's take a break. Let's figure this all out. And honestly, they just came here last month for a week and a half to visit us from, they live in Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. And we go out there, we're going there for Thanksgiving. So we have more family to love us and we get to love more family. The way that it all happened, yeah, I'm working on some forgiveness, some anger there.
I was going to say, was there some betrayal feelings kind of going on that your dad that you thought was your dad didn't like explain this to you until you had to like bring it to them?
I mean, to be super honest, and I've had this conversation with my mom, it was more towards her. Okay. I really wanted her to be the one to actually call and tell me, it was my dad. And the anger is towards all the people involved. They all knew about me when I was very, very young, and none of them told me until I was 32 years old.
That's crazy.
But here's the deal. I don't know what pains they were all dealing with. I don't know what their families thought of the situation that they were in. I just was a part of it. Mm-hmm. And for a while, I did not feel betrayed. I felt like the burden. I felt like it was my fault. And so I was like working on forgiving everybody and making sure everybody felt good. I actually, through the struggle and the cloudiness of my mind, invited all these people that were a part of my parents to the same table and having a conversation with them. I'm like, who am I? But it happened. They all showed up to the table and I was like, this is what this person said. This is what this person said. Because I don't know that there would have ever been a good day to tell me. So I don't know that they would have ever told me.
Right. You probably would have gone through your whole existence not knowing. I came from a kind of a similar situation, but yet, I mean, I was adopted and I knew what adopted meant, but I didn't really know all the things. But like coming from that sense of like you just felt like that person that raised you, you're like, oh, that's my parents. Like I've never thought anything different. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're thrown this like wrench. Like I have this whole
like identity crisis almost.
Yeah. Like who am I? Mm-hmm. Do I even know who I am now because of this? Even though it changes nothing. Yeah. Because the people that raised you are still your parents.
Well, and that's like my dad who raised me is going to be my dad forever. His name's Gary. Right. He'll be my dad forever. And he chose to raise me as his daughter. Yep. That's like, what a gift to be chosen. And so I lean into those things more than the opposite because why sit and simmer on the anger? I'm alive and they're all alive. Let's do this. Let's actually like have it. Let's connect and let's be there. Mm-hmm. And so that was the lesson that I loved to learn through this was you're going to show up for people when they need you to be there. Mm-hmm. And the more we can show up, the more we do. And sometimes, we're exhausted and driving through the night somewhere to be somewhere for someone else. And that's okay because when we need people, they show up for us 100%.
Everybody listening out here, this is proof positive about mindfulness because the tools that you learned, you clearly applied in this specific situation.
100%.
Imagine if you didn't have those tools. Mm-hmm. You know, what kind of a tornado this could have easily been. So good on you for not just talking it, but living it. That's amazing to me. Well done.
Well, thank you. And if I don't live those tools, I don't know that I would be here much longer because I could succumb to these crazy thoughts and you did this to me and this happened to me and blah, blah, blah. And it's all happening for me. And I'm so grateful that I get to keep sharing about this because every time I get to talk about it, it's evolved. I mean, right away, I was thinking I was the person who caused all of this. And I was just born. I didn't do anything. I was just a baby. And I was taking the blame on that. And so I know I'm not alone in that either with all those 90s babies and the millennials and maybe a little bit of the younger Gen X is we got to stop carrying the trauma that all of the people from before us gave us. Mm-hmm. We got to let it go. And it's going to be really, really hard. And you're going to have to talk about uncomfortable things. But a better future starts with us 100%.
So now that you have this information, what did your kids think about it?
So actually, I had a few cocktails. I don't remember what we were even doing. We were at my mother-in-law's house. I had a couple cocktails. We were driving home. And it was around Christmas time. And I looked in the back seat and I said, hey, kids, you have a grandma and a grandpa that are going to come from Pennsylvania to see you. And they're going to be here in a couple of days. And they were like, oh, awesome. And that was it. I was so grateful that they weren't. I mean, my family's such a mixed bag. My parents are divorced, and my mom has a boyfriend that she lives with, and my kids very much call him future Grandpa Dennis. It's very funny. And my dad is remarried, and I have in-laws. So they're like families who show up, and we have friends who my kids call aunties, and it's just family. And so they're like, oh, cool. Are they from Jamestown? Well, not quite, not that family, different family. But one day, my daughter, this past time they were visiting, did ask if I was adopted, because both dads and my mom were all in the same, they were all at my house together in the front yard, just having a good time. And she actually went and asked one of the adults if I was adopted. And they said, yep, there she was. And so we're just going to go with that until we don't go with that, because it's the closest thing to the truth that we can kind of figure out right now. For being age appropriate.
And your kids had time to like stew on it and like think about it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then they were like, okay, how do we ask this? And how do we, are we coming from a different place? Like, are we going to upset mom? And it's really good that you're super open about it, because I think with that, they can be like, oh, it's just more family to love. And especially since it is a positive interaction for you.
Yeah.
So having that extra family, luckily for you, it was a positive interaction.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it doesn't always work out for people who have those situations, and then they meet the other side and they're like, whoa,
Well, like 2 or 3 years before I had found out, and I say the word threatened, like I threatened my parents. It was a threat at the time. It was, but I didn't think about it. That I was going to do a 23andMe. And I wanted it for my birthday. I wanted my parents to buy me a DNA genetic test for my birthday. No wonder they didn't. And now I know why. But it's those fears that I never knew that they even lived with, because and if you look back on it, they were divorced at the time, but thinking, well, what if she does? What if she gets one of these kids for her birthday and then figures out that this is not how it all worked out, and her dad's someone different? And what if she reaches out to them? And I'm grateful I didn't have that experience, because how defeating to reach out to that person and they don't want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And I've had conversations with people that was their experience, and I would be so crushed and heartbroken. I'm struggling to even keep it together right now, even thinking about it happening, and I'm so loved by them that's not my story, but for that to be someone's experience is just so devastating. So
I only ask it because that was my experience with my birth mom. So like coming from that angle and like having it's in turning it as it being more fortunate, like it's just more people to love and more people that love you and that want to get to know you. Yeah. But with my experience, it was just my mom. The rest of the family like took me in wholeheartedly and loved me. She just mentally couldn't handle it. And I know that now. She just like, it was, whoa, too much overload. Yeah. And it is. I mean, even for somebody coming from our angle, how we approach it, how we handle it. I didn't have the mindset training, so like I would drink too much or I would do other things and it would come out in other ways, which I have since learned how to control that and how to overcome that sort of thing. But like we said, with mindset training, you are still training your mind to like have more positive interactions and like better ways to get through that, but it still doesn't mean that those thoughts don't enter.
100%.
And so when you get to that space, let's say the Google thing is still playing, the TV's going, the husband still yells at the kids, or you're yelling at the kids, or the kids are being improper. What are some strategies or tricks that you could tell other people that you have used to keep those thoughts at bay?
So there's a visualization technique, and this is so many different things. Like you said of a Ferris wheel earlier, and there's all these different things. And so if you think about a Ferris wheel going around and around and around, your thoughts are on one of those little things. And you can choose to get on that Ferris wheel cart or not. So you can choose to engage with your thoughts or not. That's one thing. Because before I was even told that, I would think any negative thought, that's the truth. Let's go there. Let's talk about that. Let's think about, okay, yeah, that's right. You're not good enough. Well, you shouldn't do that. Why would you apply for that, Kjiesta? You're never going to get accepted. If I would have let that one first initial, should you do that, go away, well, of course I'm going to apply and then I get accepted and do all the things. I mean, that's literally what the pageant was like for me. I'm not going to do it. Yes, I am. Let's just do that. The other one is if you just take your hand and you have like your thumb and then you press from your first finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, I can handle this. I can handle this. That brings your brain to your body and it brings your whole nervous system into the present moment, showing you that you're safe, you are in the present moment and you don't have to worry about anything, because anxiety is the future. And if you're having those thoughts, you're thinking about something that has not even happened yet. So to bring yourself back to this moment is the only thing you can do. And they make the calming stickers where you can rub, and they make acupressure rings, and they make worry stones, and all of them do the exact same thing. If you think about little kids who don't know how to voice their emotions yet, what do they typically do? They act out either on others or on themselves. That's bringing their body to the present moment, getting them the safest.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's all science, and it's not mine. It's all literally science out of research and all the things. But once I learned that, it was just easy, because all you really have to do is figure out how to feel your body in the present moment. And sometimes that's your fingers. Sometimes that's, using your toes in sand. If you are fortunate enough to be like around a lake or something, use the tools that are around you.
I know sometimes when, we'd be having like a family moment where those things are happening and I'm overstimulated and I'm just like going crazy. I've had moments where, instead of yelling at my kid, I've worked really hard at this, because he's the type of kid that like only gets louder when you yell at him. And so it only like makes the problem worse. So I have learned to say, you know what? I need a timeout.
Oh, 100. Well, you're
Give
modeling that for him.
Yeah. Give mom a timeout. Like, I'm going to go and lock myself in the bathroom for another 10 minutes. Like, give me my time. And when I come back out, we'll reevaluate where we're at. And I say it quietly and I say it normally. And then I go give myself my timeout. And then when I come back out, he is like completely forgotten that any of this has happened. But I'll still sit him down and be like, okay,
yeah.
So this is what happened. This is what triggered mom. Your behavior here, is this okay? Why are you acting this way? Talk to me.
Yeah.
So then we can have a better, more modeled conversation. Because otherwise, before, like my drawer incident that I've spoken about, where
she's obsessed with her.
I hate my drawers.
I'm gonna go
Don't look at my
rearrange them
drawers
right now.
Whoa. No.
Please wait till I leave. Do not do that right now.
No, like the overstimulated, perimenopausal crazy hormone rage feeling that you get occasionally, like you're younger than me, so you're not there yet.
One day,
and you're going to use your mindset training.
Or I might slam some kitchen drawers. You never know. I'm also human, Abby.
Yeah, I know. There are times where I'm like, I'm going to break that window because I'm so angry. But I had to learn to train myself and to put a shield up once in a while and be like, okay, everything that comes at me bounces off this shield and it goes into this oblivion where I can stay in that present moment. And I have to be able to take a deep breath before I respond.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I would be like, your instant gut reaction is to just yell or to, get that out because you're so mad that your kids like completely destroyed the basement or, did the things. They didn't listen for the 100th time you asked them to brush their teeth. So like, you're like, I'm going to raise my voice. I'm going to yell.
Yeah.
And taking yourself back and saying, no, I don't need to do that.
Well, would you rather learn how to swim while you're sitting on the side of the pool or while you're drowning?
I don't know.
I don't think you learn much while you're drowning.
Definitely while
Probably
you're
not while I'm
sitting.
drowning.
Definitely while you're sitting on the side of the pool, and
Yep.
so that's what you're doing. You're letting him, and that's a bad example because I'm still going to tell you you're letting your kid drown. But he just needs to be there for a minute and feel those feelings. And once he can climb to the side of the pool and sit on the side, then he can listen.
Yep.
You're just modeling that for him, saying, I'm going to go sit in the bathroom or wherever I'm going to do, and I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it. And I will come back because I love you and this is a safe place to feel all these feelings. But your behaviors are not okay. Your feelings, yes. Your thoughts even are okay. But your behaviors aren't.
And
I
you
get
wish
to talk about it.
Somebody had like, I feel like every single person in this entire world should take parental training in that stuff because, you'll Google
100%.
Like when I was, when we had Xander, I had never babysat kids. I didn't have kids younger than me growing up. Like I was never modeled any of this. So like my gut reaction was to react how my parents reacted to me, which was, yelling and just we were a yelling family and we were that for a very long time until I was like, this is not working.
Yeah.
He is just getting worse. Like he doesn't care. He doesn't listen to it. And then he would model the same behaviors that we were doing. And I was like, whoa, we need to stop.
He's learning exactly how you learned.
Right. And
Not
I did
you.
what my parents did. I'm
And
like,
you're
okay, we
doing
gotta
that.
break the cycle.
That's what I said earlier. The Gen X millennials, we're having to go through all this hard stuff and literally train ourselves to be better people in order to be the best people for our kids. And then guess what they get to do? The same dang thing.
Yes, hopefully.
And be like, oh, my mom messed me up so bad. I'd be like, yeah, too much therapy. Sorry.
You spoke a little bit about some of the techniques when Abby asked you. One of the main comments that I get and we get is what I think is more prevalent, maybe because it's talked about more, is anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's countless messages like, can you have someone just talk about anxiety a little bit? I mean, we know what anxiety is. It can come in many different forms, but what are some coping mechanisms for anxiety or trying to stop controlling what's uncontrollable?
Journaling. So I started with Gabby Bernstein and the manifesting. And it quickly led into that journaling piece of the gratitude. Are you grateful for today? And why are you grateful for today? And write down 5 things. It could be you got a new big skeleton for your front yard, or your coffee was brewed in the auto coffee pot, went for you before you woke up. Just figure out all those little things. Again, it's just living in that present moment. For me, my faith took over my life, and I was baptized in 2022 as an adult. And Jesus makes me do crazy, crazy things and leads my life and just makes me focus on the present moment because I don't have control of tomorrow. And people that don't live in the faithful space and want to control, don't worry, I still want to control days more often than not. But I have to settle on the fact that it's all happening no matter what. I can wake up and I can make plans and I can do all the things and I can say we're going to be here at that time. I mean, this podcast is a great example. Thank you for rescheduling this. That's one of the things.
It's what we do.
Exactly, but it's that kind of thing, and you just have to be okay saying no to things and boundaries. And so I'm not super versed in the coping mechanisms, but the building your life around what you're struggling with. If you're anxious every time you go to a meeting with new people, stop scheduling so many meetings with new people. Right. If you're anxious going to parties, bring a friend. If you're anxious going to work, that's something you probably should address. And why are you worried? Are you worried because you're not going to get enough done? What's driving that? And so I did about 5,000 personality assessments. I'm an Enneagram 8. I'm whatever on the DISC assessment. I'm definitely a big red, high D dominant personality because I love to take control. It just allowed me to know who I was and love that before a little bit more. I would be called bossy growing up. And I'd be called talk too much and all these things. Yeah, now I co-host a radio show, MC events. I'm a cycling instructor. I own a social media management business. I love talking. I love people. And my whole life is now showing that. Where before, I was just kind of doing what I thought other people wanted me to do.
You took a little bit of my thunder there because I was kind of a creeper looking on your website.
Well, thank you.
But you said the B word. And that's another thing I really wanted you to touch on or ask you about is when you become who you've become, the woman you become, the wife, the mother, people are going to reach out to you, especially when you go public. We've all had this happen. We've all been kind of in the public before. What type of boundaries? The B word, boundaries. I think that's something that's lacking that we don't talk about enough of good, healthy boundaries for oneself.
Yeah, absolutely. My boundaries are specifically around my family. So this is scheduled while my children are at a sporting event because I don't, it's a practice. I'm not missing like a game for this. And honestly, it's raining. I don't know why they're doing it anyway. I make sure I'm with my kids when I need to be with my kids. And that's what's honestly caused me to do so many different career changes and weird things because they come first. And any boundary that I set it's them first. And then it's me. Well, it's me first. And then it's them. And then I have to consider my husband. And when people reach out to me, I have some individuals that reach out to me and ask, hey, I'm struggling with this. And I maybe am struggling at that point. And I'm just honest with them. I say, I'm really at a low moment. If you wouldn't mind, I could reach out to you when I'm feeling up to it and have the capacity. But if you need professional resources, I have a boards account where I just have that listed. So if you need 988, please text them. If you need to go somewhere, here's the address. But shining a light on something so dark has allowed a lot of people to come out of the woodwork and say, can you help me? I'm not a licensed anything that can help you, but I will point you in the right direction.
And we try and emphasize that too. We have conversations about it and we have our own experiences.
Yeah.
And hopefully someone can assimilate or, associate with
Yeah.
what we've gone through in their own way. But I have found myself putting boundaries up. I wrote a book, and I had parents emailing me and calling me. It's like, I can't fix your problem. You associated with me, and you see a lot of the things in your sibling, child, father, grandfather
Yeah.
that maybe I wrote about. But just like you, here's a list of people that are trained professionally, and I'm happy, more than happy. Abby's more than happy. Clearly, you are more than happy to get you to those people. That's really the goal.
Yeah.
Talk about it. The stigma thing ticks me off. I love awareness. I think awareness is important. I say it all the time. I want me some action.
100%.
I need me some action going on. Let's get stuff taken care of here so it doesn't go to the top level.
Well, I mean, that's the only reason I ever put on a crown and sash for an entire year and was so uncomfortable. And honestly, pageants are extremely expensive. I had no idea about that until we were like halfway through. I'm like, oh, Jason, I'm sorry, but our vacation this year is the pageant. Woohoo! Yay. But it wasn't for me. It was for every person. And I got to go up on an international stage and say, I was almost one of 700,000 people who end their life by suicide. I am not a statistic. I am up here because I am not a statistic, telling you that you don't have to be either.
Exactly.
Those words still give me chills on my arms.
I've got them.
And I just did that on a stage. I walked across that stage for the very first time in rehearsals, wearing Spanx leather leggings and a pink T-shirt, because that's what we had to wear, black and pink, and high heels. And it was the most healing moment of my life, because it was like, hey, 5, 6, 12, 15-year-old Kjiesta who never thought you were good enough to amount to anything, 25 and 30-year-old Kjiesta too probably, hey, you're on a stage advocating for a ton of people who you're never going to meet, but they see what you're doing and your family's here, and that's all that mattered.
I think a little shout out to Jelly Roll.
Oh man,
No,
yes.
If you watch the documentary, how many people it affected him so emotionally when people would come up to him after a show, and here's just him. He sees himself as himself and never thought he was good enough.
Yeah.
And there he is, and people are coming up to him like, hey, that song you wrote, that literally saved my life. And the first question in his mind, not to put thoughts in his mind, is like, how?
Yeah.
How is that possible? It's a song about me. But I think that's the power of this. That's the power of podcasting. It's the power of media. Use your powers for good.
Well, and to your point in music, I mean, I brought my two kids to the Kane Brown concert at the fair, and his song "Haunted" it played, and then my kids are the #1 Kane Brown fans now, and they will play Kane Brown music all the time. And between that song and then Josiah Queen opened up for Lauren Daigle at the fair as well, and he sang a song called "Dusty Bibles." And in that song, it says, we have dust on our Bibles, but brand new iPhones. No wonder why we feel this way. And so I got to break those words apart to the kids and be like, yeah, when we seek this versus this, then we feel bad right here. And they're like, oh, is that what that music's about? And so we talked about Haunted because Jelly Roll is in that song with Kane Brown, and it's just how your own mind can tell you things. And so just like, it's a tool. You ask for tools, that's another tool. You can use a song to teach your kids that you can have feelings and thoughts that aren't all okay, and you can make millions of dollars singing about them too. If that's what you want to do, kids, go for it, because
Do it.
I'd love to be like taken care of like that. But it's just, you got to do what you got to do, and your path's already written for you. Follow the steps.
Right, and it sounds like to me one of the main cornerstones of your foundation is faith.
100%.
And that's excellent. And I've always said, find your thing. If it's faith, that's terrific.
Yeah.
If it's music, if it's both, build your house on what makes it strong. That foundation has to be strong, or that house is not going to stand.
100%. And then be gracious towards others when we all have different foundations.
Absolutely.
Because that's where the division comes in. I have a lot of friends, actually. I wasn't so outward about my faith until a few years ago. And I have friends who are just not as close of friends because of that. I have other friends who I literally invite to church every week, and they're like, yeah, no, but I love you. Not coming with you. And it's okay, because we love everybody where we're at, and that's the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. We're all humans. We're all struggling at some point and some level, and most of us are hiding it. So just have grace and be kind.
I think with the anxiety piece, when you're talking about your faith gives you confidence. And so you're confident knowing yourself and knowing your faith. So then your anxiety tends to go away.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that lack confidence. They lack self-worth. They lack that self-confidence piece.
Yeah.
So then when they go out into the world, they're internalizing these negative thoughts instead of training their brain to be like, you said, I can do this. That mind-body connection. So for people that are struggling with anxiety, I would stress to work on your confidence.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's one small thing every day. If you hate the way you parted your hair, you know, do it differently. Find what you love and find the pieces that work for you, whether it is your faith or your music or things that give you that confidence so you can get through your day and be like, hey, I did that. Like I've never gone to a networking group meeting and like just put myself out there and like met new people, but I did that today. And that's a small stepping stone. Each tiny piece is a new piece for them to get rid of the anxiety of the negative what ifs and turn it into I did.
100%. And that's back to, it's mental. It's all back to mindfulness. I can do this. I am strong enough to do this. All those different things. But we're all human. And that's where we need to surround ourselves with good people. Write something on your mirror. I am awesome. I mean, sometimes I write I am funny because I'm not funny. But if I say I am funny, then I laugh at it because I know I'm not
at your
funny.
jokes. I think they're great.
But they're never funny. I'm accidentally funny. And that's what happens.
That's even more
See,
hilarious.
like you're
Better.
laughing, like you're laughing, and that wasn't supposed to be funny. The thing before it was, yeah. And so it's just, you gotta, and life's too short to be super serious all the time. Have some fun.
It's like my husband always says, he has these great comebacks and, you know, like these little witty things that he does and says. I never have them. And once in a while, I'll think of it in my head and then I'll say it. And then he gets offended. Like, it was probably more rude than it was funny, but to me it was funny. And I'm like, but you look at rude and funny memes all the time. How
I
is
can
this not-
I can vouch for her on this because we are in a group text and it'll be hilarious. Then Abby will put her 2 cents and then everybody just stops texting.
Oh, goodness.
It's okay, Abby. You're trying.
I'm trying.
As long as you're, okay, so that was what I was going to say actually, is the isolation piece, I think, is more than a confidence piece. And so it kind of hand in hand. You isolate yourself because you're not confident in who you are or what you bring to the table. And so the first thing is go say hi to someone, to their face, like eye to eye. And I have to be very clear about that because you can do voice notes, you can do Facebook Messenger, you can do text messages, or if they're far away, give them a phone call or FaceTime them. Those little tiny connections will then rewire your brain to be like, oh yeah, I'm worthy of having conversations with people. Other people like hearing what I have to say. Even if it's to your mom every day. I mean, start small, but there's little things, like you said, little tiny ways you can chip at it. And
She was teasing me about a college tattoo via text message the other day, so that was very clever.
hey, look at you!
Yeah, but we're not
Funny,
gonna
clever,
talk about.
And you're
that.
getting a tattoo. I love this.
No, that's gonna be a cover
On air.
Yes.
Ooh, that would be kind of fun. We could do it live.
Oh, we could. Yeah. I don't know.
I have a cover up or two to do. So. Zip it, Abby.
get to it.
Zip it.
You did say something important, though. You had talked about community. And
Yes.
so community can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. It can mean like a small group of friends. It could mean going out in the community and like doing large events and like being around lots of people. But I think with that community piece, it's learning how to interact socially again. We
100%, yes.
We don't know how to do that. And especially with the younger age group, I'm seeing so much of that where they just don't know how to talk to people.
Well, it's screen time.
Yeah, too
Screen
much
time
of it.
is, well, I was bad at it about a month ago. On Sunday mornings at 9, whatever, you get a little alert. This is your screen time. It said 5 hours and 39 minutes a day. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like a lot of screen time. And I took that and I made it my goal then to not be on my phone as much. Not only did I sleep better, but I was a little bit happier. I went and played baseball with my son. I'm like, it was awareness. It was awareness. Like, I am now aware of how much I wasn't aware of me being on my phone or computer working or what. It's summer. My kids are home. I'm trying to do like 9,000 things in a day and I have 37 minutes while they're watching their iPads to do what I need to do. And then everyone's just anxious and it falls back into that. So yeah, it's the face-to-face getting out there and doing it. We all are relearning a little bit, but go out and try. Say hi. Invite someone for a coffee. invite them to your house for coffee. Start small.
Isn't that the truth? This is what really ticks me off about text messages, because I work with a lot of people who are very blunt on their text messages. And it's not an age thing. It's just how they write. And it's really, I see it happen with a lot of people. And I've worked on getting a lot better, because I'll get a message and I'm like, oh, what a dick. It's like, oh, that's not what I meant. And this face-to-face conversation is so much more important. Have a coffee, sit across and have a conversation. There's nothing to be read in between that. You know what I mean? And have the courage to do that, instead of, if you're going to be Mr. or Mrs. Tough Guy on a text message, then you better have the ability to do it to their face too.
Oh, I love it. Don't talk big and walk small.
Got that right.
I was looking up haircut suggestions for my husband last week, and I had put in a particular Google search, and I had made the mistake of like screenshotting one of the haircuts, and in the middle of it, so I sent it to him. I said, I think this would look really good on you. And then he was like, yeah, I was kind of thinking about doing that, but wait, you think I have a big forehead? And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
what do you mean? No, why? Because in the middle of the photo, it said haircuts for men with large foreheads.
Oh,
I had,
Abby.
Ooh, you can crop screenshots.
And
I
she said
know.
she's
Yeah.
not funny. That's funny.
See, that's accidentally funny. I think you're with me
I don't think he thought it was funny, but like,
Well,
wait,
obviously.
you think? Oh, I'm like, I love you. I'm sorry, but yes, you have a big forehead. I'm
Why are
sorry.
you picking out his haircut?
I wasn't. I was just like,
You
that
were.
wait, that's
You
like
want-
that
you-
right there is a misuse of screen time for
Yeah,
sure.
you
It
are
sure is.
100% were picking out a haircut for
okay,
him.
I'm an evil wife. I'm terrible.
No, I didn't
Blast me
say
on
that.
Trying to
social
be a
didn't say
helpful
that.
wife. Trying to be a
I get to pick one out. I'm going to have AI generate one for his head.
I mean, I cut my husband's hair, so like I have for like literally 10 years because he's too cheap to go pay for a haircut. So
See, if you knew my husband, he's had like long Fabio locks his whole life, like long, beautiful Fabio locks. And like
Amazing hair.
the one time to
cover up his
he
forehead.
scared me. So like
Clearly.
being a controlling perfectionist, one time he came home and he had completely shaved his head. I'm
Oh.
not talking like a little bit. It was like a number one.
Oh.
And he came and he walked in the door and I was like, oh my, it looked like the top of a bird, like a feather head. I'm like, what did you do?
so nice.
And he goes, I just told her to shave it because I didn't. I'm like, no. Like,
So now you're sending him with, just in case he has no ideas, here's an idea.
yeah, like,
Okay.
don't do that again. Like,
I know, but at least his hair grows back, and it grows back better than ever.
well, he's got beautiful hair. His hair's better than
I
mine.
always tell him he has amazing hair.
This
He
is
does.
so funny. You
And
guys.
he shares his. And to Andy's defense, and he wouldn't want this out there, but I'm going to say it anyway, Andy, he shares his hair.
He does. He actually got it cut and donated. He does every year. He donates it to Make-A-Wish.
Oh my
for Kids
goodness.
with
He's a good
cancer.
man.
So
So leave his forehead alone. Ashley.
I know, but he's still not allowed to shave his head. The last one, he had let the kid. he let the kid cut it off, which was a big mistake because they cut like really far up and like it took him forever to grow it back out again. So he was like, maybe
Hey.
next time. I'm like, but you know what? That kid had a good time.
You're giving
that,
back.
Yeah, it was giving back. But so to kind of end this, Kjiesta, if you could give people advice that are ever in that space, you know, to sum everything up, what would you tell them?
That you should be here till tomorrow. It's a new day. And text 988. That's it.
988.
988. Text it. And you know, honestly, texting, I'm so grateful that that's a thing. And that wasn't always the way it was. Because, like you said, who does face to face anymore? So they've adapted so much to meet everybody where they're at. You can text, you can call, you can do so many different things. But yeah, text 988 if you're struggling. And you can honestly just be thinking you're not good enough. And that's a reason to text them because they are trained professionals that can help you through that moment. And you will be better on the other side, 100%.
And surround yourself with people that want you to be a better you and want you to be around.
And honor who you are, yeah. I don't want to change you.
If you have someone else affecting your mindset, you know, maybe you should relook at that situation. So surround yourself.
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Boundaries. I love that word, but I love initiating boundaries.
Absolutely.
It takes
think-
practice and it takes consistency and it takes courage.
It takes getting rid of some guilt, too.
100%.
And yeah, I've been through that. So Kjiesta Moch. Oh my gosh, I get to meet so many cool people. You know everybody, Abby, but
I
I
love
get to
it.
meet so many cool people. But
Well, I was excited to have her on. I think
thank you for asking.
She's an extremely beautiful, intelligent woman that, is very strong, obviously overcoming something that, horrific, even having those thoughts when you're a mother and, an entrepreneur, and being strong enough to put that out on your platform so then other people can wake up and tell their story and say, hey, like if she can talk about it, so can I. And then that's how we begin to heal.
And we will share those websites, platforms, social media, everything we got on ours, because I think that's important. We love supporting
Thanks, guys.
great people doing great things. Oh, man, this has been terrific.
Yeah, it's been so awesome. Thanks again for inviting me.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Hey, we're got a busy week coming up. Somebody's been scheduling lots of people. I can't wait. We do have a sponsor, and I'll throw that at the beginning of it. So,
Oh, fabulous.
surprise!
Oh, good.
That was fun to witness.
Yeah,
Thanks, you guys.
we do. Yay.
You've been listening to the Kiss My Chaos podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we speak with some of the most intriguing people about their journey from trauma to triumph. If you find yourself in mental crisis, please seek professional medical help immediately.